All right, we are now recording.
Hello everyone. So I guess now you are able to see my screen, right?
Yes, you're coming in clear.
Yeah. Okay. So my name is Shubham Kapoor. I am working with Informix HQ from last 5 years. So we are here to show you the new features which we have developed in Informix HQ in last 1 year with a demo as well as in the PPT. So let me start with the PPT first. These are the contents for the Informix HQ. That is the VNext highlights, then the upgrade requirements and changes which we have done, what's our plan for going forward, and some Q&A. So VNext highlights. We have upgraded our HQ. Like earlier on, HQ working on Java 1.8, but now we have upgraded its Java to Java 11, and we have also tested it on Java 17. Same the case with Informix HQ agent. Earlier on, initial admin password to log in the Informix HQ for the first time, user need to give it in the properties file. But now we have removed that due to some security concerns. Our team have removed that initial admin password, and now we are prompting a screen for the first time login, and user need to change that password over there. Then there is a dark and light theme mode, and there is a work offline mode which we have given in the Informix server, Informix HQ. With this, we have given an enterprise application feature in which user can create domains as well as modify the domains, and user can create the replicate as well over there. With the ER feature, we have also given a built-in help documentation so that user can need not to go to the Informix documentation site. User can go over there in the ER and can see it. We'll show you all these features in demo as well. First, now let's proceed with the PPT. So talking about the Informix HQ architecture. So for those who are new to the Informix HQ, so our Informix HQ is built on now Java 11 with a Jetty web-based server. It has mainly two components. One is the Informix HQ server, which is built in Jetty Java 11, and the UI that is in Angular 14. With this, we also have a monitoring agent running with the particular Informix instance. So the main work of the Informix HQ server is to monitor and administration of the databases. It connects directly to the Informix database server, pulling live data and performing admin tasks. It also connects with the Informix HQ agent that is running on the Informix instance. So for the Informix HQ agent, per instance need a agent running over there. Its job is to connect with the Informix database server and pulls the data and send that data to the Informix HQ server. Also, in Informix HQ server, we have some third-party APIs like Twilio. These API and the APIs which are there in the Informix HQ server that are totally REST APIs. Moving to the next screen, we have the initial admin password features in Informix HQ. So as we mentioned that earlier, user need to set this password in the properties file of the Informix HQ at the time of starting the Informix HQ server. But now we have removed that. So for the first time user, that the user which is new to the Informix HQ and using Informix HQ for the first time, the username would be admin and the password would be admin. After giving the username as admin and password as admin, you will be prompted to a password change screen where user can change the password. So this features removes the plain text password in the properties file. Moving to the next, that is the dark and light theme. So earlier on, we were not supporting the dark theme. So now we have given a toggle button in the Informix HQ where user can see a light theme as well and a dark one like as of Grafana. So the toggle button configuration we are saving directly. So there is no need to toggle it again and again just to see the dark one. Work offline mode. So with the VNext, we have introduced a work offline mode in the Informix HQ server. So this is the toggle button of work offline. So supposingly in a case where user don't want Informix HQ to make some connections or to continue its connection with the Informix database server, or user don't want to continue its agent connection to the Informix database server, user can simply toggle it to the offline and rest HQ can handle it. So HQ will disconnect all the connections created for server 2 in this example from HQ server as well as HQ agent. So this will help in working on the performance related task on the Informix database server where the monitoring is not required. Also, user can at this time, at the time of offline, user can work on various tasks. Like they can add any sensors if they want. They can add any alert. They can set the permission of the Informix HQ to any user. They can see the incidents if they want. But all the other tabs which require some connection to be created on the Informix server, that would be disabled. So mainly on the local data user can work it. Coming on to the next slide, that is the ER replication. So creating of domains as well as replicate. Yeah, so this is the big feature which we have done in the Informix HQ. So in this feature, user can create multiple domains if they want. User can also modify the existing domain. User can delete or add some node inside the domain, and further user can also create the replicates. So now there is no need to run the CDR commands on the Informix database server or remember the CDR commands. Just some clicks, user can directly create the ER domain. So these are some snapshots for the same, which I will show you in the demo as well. So for now, if I will say I need to create a node, I need to create a ER domain for a 5 server. So these commands would be running on the Informix database server. We are also showing these commands over here, and the domain will look like this. With the upgrade requirement changes, we have upgraded the H2DB version of the Informix HQ server. So the user who are working on 2.3.3, if they move to the vNext or if they move to 2.3.4, then there are some H2DB requirements are there. So you need to upgrade your H2DB. The steps we have provided in the documentation. Also, if user directly without upgrading directly run the HQ, then there would be console message on the console with the steps of how to upgrade S2DB. With vNext, or we can say 3.0.0 HQ, user need to set a new Java, that is Java 11, as we are now moved to Java 11. Some file names have also been changed. Like earlier on, there the file names for the Informix HQ server was Informix HQ server.properties, but now we have changed it to monitoring server.properties. Same with the log4j for the logging thing, and with the logs file as well. Going forward, so going forward, our main effort would be like we will give more and more regular releases of Informix HQ, not necessarily with the Informix server, but as a standalone as a zip file on Fix Central. So for this, we have recently released Informix HQ 2.3.4 to the Fix Center. This we are doing because there are some security patches coming regularly in a day-to-day life, and that needs to be required to fix it. So for that, we are giving this Informix HQ releases as a zip over there. We are also working on the documentation, on the on-screen documentation, which we will give inside the Informix HQ, so that there is no need for the user to go to the Informix documentation for the Informix HQ. User can directly view from there. Yeah, for PPT, we have done as of now. If you have any questions for presentation, you can ask, then we'll proceed to the demo.
All right, great. If anyone has questions, if you want to put them in the chat, make sure to set the two to everyone or to me. So if you can't hear me, I'm in his Informix Tech Talks. And I will pass them along. Request to post a URL to Fix Central. I will go ahead when I'm doing good point. I will go ahead when I am doing the post of this to the wag.org. I will include that in the post.
Okay.
I think that's it for questions right now. Um, all right. I think that I'm not seeing any other questions. So,
Okay. Let's proceed with the demo then.
all right, great.
Yeah. So for now, I have a folder with HQWAUG. Inside that folder, I have an Informix HQ latest jar like 3.0. and the property file, and I said that the name of the property file has been changed to monitoring server. Then the log4j file we have. Now, for the demo purpose, I will also show you which version of Java I am running. I am currently running Java 11. So now let me start Java Informix HQ for the demo. Okay. With this, I will also show you that I have a VM running on my local system, and inside that VM, I have a server 2 already running of Informix server. With this, I also have a agent. As I said earlier, that agent needs to run locally on the Informix database server. So I have an agent configuration over there. So I will show you, this is the agent jar file. This is the property file of the agent. So now let's start with the Informix HQ server. As soon as you will start the Informix HQ server, you will navigate on the browser with the localhost 8080. 8080 is the port. You can modify it to the monitoring server.properties file. So let me refresh it. So this screen you will get for the first time. As I am the new user to the Informix HQ, so I am getting this screen. What my first feature is that for the first time logging, I will give admin as a user and admin as a password. So now the dependency of giving the initial admin password to the properties file have been removed totally. So once I say login, it will prompt me to a password change screen. Mandatorily, I need to change this password to log in inside the Informix HQ. So for now, I am giving a new password. So my new password is admin@123, same with the confirming one. So this is our first feature, that there is no need to give initial admin password in the properties file. When I say change password, it will log in me inside the Informix HQ. Now for the second feature, or the I say will the third feature, because the first one is the Java upgrade, second is the Informix HQ login password, and third is the light and dark theme. So over here you will see a toggle button over for the light and dark theme. This is currently my light theme. If I toggle it on, it will give me a dark mode like as of Grafana. So this is our third feature which we have given in Informix HQ. Now coming to the next feature that is mainly of ER or the work offline feature, then we need to add a server inside it. So I am adding an Informix database server inside Informix HQ. Server 2, my host name is, okay. While adding the Informix database server inside Informix HQ, you can also test the connection whether your credentials are working or not. So let me click on it. Yeah, it says the server is online. That means my credentials are correct. While after I will take this question after this demo. So after clicking on submit, I will redirect to the Informix HQ server 2, because I have added server 2 over here. So the fourth feature which we have talked about is the work offline mode. So this is the toggle button for the work offline and online mode. So let me show you how many sessions currently we are there on the Informix database server. So currently Informix HQ server have created these 4 sessions on inside on the Informix database server. So if some user want, a user can directly click on the work offline and those all sessions would be disconnected. So let me do it. I said work offline. So you will see a message over here. You have selected a work offline mode. Status data will not be fetched. So when I run this command again, you will just a second. -G. Yeah, now it's running. Okay. Yeah. Now you can see all those sessions have been terminated. So this is the feature which we have done in Informix HQ, that if user want to work on the local data of Informix HQ server, user can click on the offline toggle and now you can these all tabs should be disabled. You will not be able to work on these tabs. Furthermore, you will be able to work on monitoring data, like if you want to add some sensors or want to change some configuration for the sensor. You can work on alerting if you want to add some alert or need to give some permissions to the Informix HQ user. You can also view incidents if you want. So these are the local data on which Informix user can work on Informix HQ server on in case of toggle of offline. This same thing will work in case of agent as well. In case of agent is running, and if user do the offline, agent will also disconnect all his sessions to the Informix database server. So for this demo of the agent, let me start a Informix HQ agent on my VM. So over here also I have a Java 11 installed. Agent is started, and if I will see over here, there will be a message like not configured. So I have started agent for the first time. So for the configuration of agent, I need to get a repository database to the agent so that it will dump all its data which it will collect from the Informix server to a database. So I have already created a database. Let me give it. Oh, no, I have not created a database. So let me create a database from here. Now if I will go to the configuration, I can select a RapoDB or Repo database. So I will select a Repo database, or I can select a newly created, that is RapoDB. I will select RapoDB for it, the time. Once I say select save, my configuration would be saved. And now if I navigate to the home screen, it will show me that the Informix server is online while HQ agent is also online and is connected. So now I need to add a sensor over here in order to show you the connections that HQ agent will create to the Informix database server. So for that, I am adding a DB space usage sensor. Its run interval is 5 minutes while the data retention is 30 days. So once I say save, this sensor has been added to the Informix HQ server, and the same has been received to the Informix HQ agent as well. So now if I will navigate over here, and if I will say on stat-gses, so you will see these are the gateways which are created from the Informix HQ, and these two are the session which are created from the Informix HQ agent. So now Informix HQ agent as well as Informix HQ server is totally connected with the Informix database server. Now what if user want to work offline? So as soon as user toggle it to the work offline, all the connections which are connected with the Informix HQ server as well as the Informix HQ agent, that would be disconnected. So once I say offline, and if I go here, see, just a second, why gateway to connection is there. If I say offline, see the agent connections have been disconnected, and as well as the HQ server connection has also been disconnected. So this is the work offline features which we have implemented in Informix HQ server. So you can work on the local mode. Once I click online, all the connection of the HQ agent as well as the HQ server would get connected. Coming to the next, which feature we have in replication, we have enterprise replication. So earlier on in Informix HQ, you can only see the domain which is already created on the Informix database server. There were no features of creating a domain or modifying a domain. So now we have given it. So as soon as you click on this ER page, you will be prompted to some mandatory things which are there, and then there would be a slideshow or the presentation as type that will give the user how to define an ER domain. That is the learning session for the user. If user will click on it, you will see a PPT type how to define a ER in Informix HQ server. So these are some steps. So this is the feature which we have given, that Informix HQ, that furthermore or the from now onwards, we are trying to implement this documentation inside the Informix HQ, so there is no need to navigate to the Informix documentation page. So for now, we have given it for the ER. So these are some steps which user can follow and user can create its ER domain successfully. So these same steps are with the how to modify ER domain, how to define a replicate, how to start a replicate, and how to stop a replicate. So these are the PPT slides which we have given inside the Informix HQ as a part of documentation. Now let's start in defining a domain. So as soon as I click on define ER domain, this will show me a screen, and this screen is coming directly, data is coming directly from the SQL host server file. So from the SQL host, I have already defined some groups over there, and inside that group, I have already defined some members. So Informix HQ does not have directly control of the SQL host file to directly edit something. So this needs to be done by the user by itself. They need to create the SQL host file as per the ER, and rest Informix HQ can handle it. So as I am in the server 2, my server 2 group is er underscore server 2. So this is the by default, this would be added in the domain because this is the starting point of creating a new domain. So initially, if you are adding a server in the HQ and then defining a domain, so that server need to be part of that domain as that is the starting point. So that's why it is disabled over here. Furthermore, I have another group that is er underscore server 3 where the group member is server 3, er underscore server 4 where group member is server 4, er underscore server 5 with server 5 as a group member, and er underscore server 6 with server 6 as a group member. So for the demo purpose, if I er underscore server 2 is already a part, already should be a part of the domain, and then I click er underscore 3, 4, and 6. I'm clicking 6 intentionally because I will show you some validations of the Informix HQ server. When I say add, so the new screen will appear over here where your selected data would be here. If you will see er underscore server 6 is getting a I mark, that is a red mark or a cross mark. It's because if you will click on it, that will show you the reason. Er underscore server 6 group is already a part of some other ER domains. So that's our validations which we have done as soon as you click on the groups. So there are some necessary validations which are required for the ER, which now these ER server 2, 3, 4 are fulfilling those validations. That's why there is no mark over here or the red sign mark. But ER underscore 6 group is not validating, not fulfilling those conditions. So in this case, either user need to remove this server from the already existing domain and then need to click on revalidate. For the demo, I am removing this server to not to be a part for my ER domain as it's already a part of some other ER domain. So clicking on this will remove it from this list. If user want to add some other server, let's suppose I want to add another server like server 5 inside my domain, I will click on ER server 5 and I can add it over here. Okay, for now I am removing it because this server I will show you adding in case of modifying the domain. So in case of modifying, we will add this group over there. So for now, I'm removing it. As ER server 2 is the initial point for creating a new ER domain, so it must be a root node, and QData space I have already given in the onconfig file. So these data are coming from there. Also, I have given the CDR DB space over here, so that's why it is directly populating. If you have multiple DB spaces, you will see in this like this. Same case with the QData space. In this show more option, there are some configurations like for the ATS or for the RIS and the format one. These you can also mention over here. And like if you want some ideal timeout to be on or off, you can mention over here. Just clicking on save and next will move it to the next one. And you will see side by side, domain is, you can virtually imagine the domain, that how the domain will look like. It's still not created on the Informix server. It's just the visualization which Informix HQ server has given to you. So our cursor is now moved to ER server 3. So it's asking us to fill some mandatory details for the ER server 3. So for me, I will make ER server 3 another as a root node, and I will select the group server sync as an ER server 2. These data I have already given for the ER server 3, and these data user can configure if they want. Clicking on the next will move to server 4. So for the server 4, I want this server 4 as a non-root node, and my sync server would be ER server 2. I can mention it over here, and I can also mention the leaf node as well. Now clicking on save and next will show you that how your domain will look like if you will visualize that in Informix HQ server. These are a text mark that means you have successfully entered all the values which are required for this creating a domain. And this is the visualization of the domain. After visualization, you need to click on define ER domain button. So if I will click on define ER domain button, it will ask me that whether you want to create your ER domain or not. If I will say yes, it will show me all the commands that that will be executed on the Informix server side. So these are the admin function which will be executed on the ER server on the server side to create this ER domain. So ER server 2 group is of root node, ER server 3 again a root node, ER server 4 group is of non-root node, and these are those commands. So once I say proceed, HQ will start working to create a domain over there. So you will see a tick box that this is successfully executed and created. Again the root node of server 3 ER server 3 group is also created, and ER server 4 is also created. In case if there is some error from the Informix server end, you will see that error over here, and their child node will not be executed. Suppose in case my domain looks like after a non-root node there would be a leaf node, and non-root node would not be created due to some error, then the leaf node will also be not created, as leaf is the child of the non-root node. So in my case, all nodes are being successfully created. And if I will say close, now this domain have been successfully created on the Informix server end. And this will visualize like this. So this is the concept of how to create an enterprise application domain from Informix HQ server. This demo we have given of creating a new domain. Now, what if user want to modify or want to add a new node to the existing domain? So in that case, you just need to click over here. You will see this domain over here, and then you need to click add new nodes. So as soon as you click on add new nodes, you will see these servers, these groups will be disabled because they already are the part of domain now. So now the remaining one is ER server 5 group and ER server 6. ER server 6 will not pass the validation as it is already a part of some other domain. So we will select ER server 5 as a group over here. So when I select ER server 5 group, my already existing domain, which is created on the Informix server, would look like in a light mode. And once I fill all the necessary details like what I want to create for the ER server 5. So suppose I say I want a leaf node to be created for ER server 5, and is this leaf node would be for ER server 4. Sync is for ER server 4. And once I say save, you will see the light part is the already existing domain which are there on the Informix server, while the dark one is the new node which we have added, and still it is not added on the domain on the Informix server end. It's just a visualization until unless you click on the define ER domain, then we'll proceed for creating the for adding this node. So once I click on define ER domain, it will ask me for the permissions that whether you want to create. If I say yes, it will show me the command which will be executed for the leaf node. And once I say proceed, its domain have been the leaf node have been successfully executed over there. So as you can see now, the server ER server 5 is the leaf node. So leaf node would be highlighted with the green one, non-root node would be highlighted with this purple one, and this root node would be highlighted with the blue ones. So this is the concept of modifying the existing domain or adding a new node in the existing domain. Now, what if user want to delete some node from the existing from the domain? So how user can delete it? So for this, a user just need to click on this icon. If I will click on this icon, I can see the various information like the what is the group member, server state, and connection state. So as soon as I click on this icon, it will prompt me just a second. This is the error scenario. If you will find some error, you will get this error over like here. So in our case, if I say This is error scenario is highlighting. Just a second. Let me check the state of the server. Is online up and running. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So now if I click on this icon, I will see the information about the particular node. Like I can see the DDR state, I can see the send queue, I can see the network over here, I can see spool disk uses, receive queue, apply, and certainly there are some more options which user can see over here or can set. So if user want to modify the existing or more options which were there in while creating the domain, user can do it from now here. That user can edit the ATS file formats, and user can also make some server as a QD. So user can do it from here. Just need to click on save. While more after modifying, the data will got saved in the Informix server. So as I click on ER server 2, I cannot delete ER server 2 directly because on ER server 2 there are dependencies in server like ER server 3 or ER server 4. So we need to delete either ER server 3 first, then on that 4 and then 5. So in this case, what I will do, I'm clicking on ER server 3 and I will try to delete this ER server 3. So if I click on ER server 3, there is a delete button. If I will say delete, it will ask me for, are you sure you want to delete? If I will say yes, HQ will work on it to delete. Yeah. So you can see the node has been successfully deleted. Now your tree or your visualization will look like this. So in this scenario, this features we have covered creating a new domain, adding a node to the existing domain, deleting a node from the existing domain or modifying the domain. So we have covered this creating a domain in this session. Now, what if I have created a domain? I need to create a replicate as well. So for that, we have given a new tab over here that is the replicate tab. So I am inside server ER server 2, which is part of group ER server 2. If I will click on replicate, it will show me no data available because I don't have any replicates yet. So for creating a new replicate, there is a button over here, add new replicate. I will click on it. It will ask me for the replicate name. So I will say replicate 1. Then it will ask me for the participants, that for that replicate, what all are the participants. I will say add participant. It will ask me for the master server. So for the master server, I will say ER server group 2 it would be my master. Its database would be demo ER that I have already created before this demo. Table, I have already created a table with the ID column over here. You can either select all the columns or you can directly click on some particular column. In my case, there is only one column, so I will select all. It will also ask for the where clause if you want to give some where clause. In my case, I don't want. For the participant type, I will say update anywhere, and privileges, I will say user Informix. So as soon as I say save and next, it will ask, you will see our entry over here in the participant server. So this is the master server which I have added. Now it will ask me the other participant. So I will say my other participant is server 4. So server 4 is my other participant, that is the non-root one. And if I will say select, okay, server 4, I don't have any demo database created over there. So let me go to the enterprise application and add server 3 again because I have created a database over there. It's a root node. ER server 2 would be a sync, save, define, and create. For the demo purpose, I have created databases in ER server 2 and ER server 3 only. So now I can see over here. Let me go to replicate. Replicate 1. Participant ER server 2. Database demo. Table test. Columns. Update anywhere. User Informix. Yeah, entry. Now for the participant one, I will say ER server 3. The database I have already added, so demo ER. I have already created a table over there. If you don't have any table, you can directly click on auto create missing table. So that will also create an missing table on the participant server. Participant type is update anywhere and privileges is user Informix. So I will say save and next. Furthermore, it will ask me for the other participant to edit. Like ER server 4 and ER server 5 is remaining, so it will show me in that list. For now, I am creating a replicate with the two participant because the database have not been created on ER server 4 and ER server 5. So once I close this pop-up, it will show me all the list of participants with the master one over here. I can edit it, I can delete it. Right now, this is all the local data. It's still not created on the Informix server end. Now you need to click on the next button, which is here. So as soon as I click on the next button, it will ask me for the conflict resolution rule. So based on your conflict resolution rule for the replicate, you can select like ignore timestamp, SPL, timestamp with routine with SPL, delete twins, or always apply. Same with the resolution scope like row or transaction. Same with frequency. Immediately you want the data to be replicated or some every, you can type the interval. You can time a day of a day on that particular day of a day, daily, weekly. On weekly, you need to give a day and time. On monthly, you need to give a day, a time. On last of the month, you need to give a time. So for me, I am selecting immediately. These are some special options which you can provide like add shadow columns or not, include unchanged large object or not, and some replicate full rows or not. These are some options which you can provide at the time of creating. After that, there is an options of activate replicate after creation. So this means that you want to create the replicate as well as you want to activate, you want to start that replicate instantly. So if you will say check, I want to start it, it will ask for some other details of the starting the replicate, that extra target row you want to keep or delete, synchronization thing, send queue and synchronize data. If you will say no, I just want to create a replicate, I don't want to start that replicate, just click on the false thing, uncheck it, and and once you click on define replicate, it will directly create your replicate. It will ask you like you want to proceed or not. If you will say proceed, you will see the same output of the CDR command we are showing over here, that verification for the test 1 is started, test 1 verification successful for server 2, server 3 started and server 3 successful. If there would be any error from the Informix server end, then we will display it over here. So after closing it, we will be redirecting to the list of replicates. So as you can see, I have created a replicate, that is replicate 1 with conflict type as ignore. It will show me the created date, it will show me the modified date, it will show me the frequency as well. So now as the replicate is just created, it's not running right now. So there is a play button or the start button for that replicate. So if I'll click on this start button, it will ask me for the participant which I want to add for the replicate. If I will say both this participant, then for the next, it will ask me the same questions which we have gotten over there. Like you want to target the extra rows to keep or delete or merge. If I will say keep, send queue, performance synchronization, if I want or not synchronize data source, I will say server 2, and once I say select start replicate, the replicate would be successfully started. So how to know that replicate is started or not? So for that, what we will do in this demo, we will insert a value in ER server 2 or server 2, and then we will see in server 3 that whether that value have been successfully replicated or not. Okay. So once you start the replicate, you will see these two buttons over here. So now this, as this replicate is successfully started, you will see a suspend button for suspending the replicate, or you will see a stop button for stopping the replicate. Now to verify whether our data, whether replicate have been started or not, what we will do inside test 1, we will insert a row. So first of all, I will do a select to show you that if there is any data or not. So currently no rows are available. So I will say insert into test 1 values 1. So now if I will say select, so 1 has been inserted in server 2, that is a part of ER server 2. Now we will check the same thing on ER server 3 group, which is server 3. So for that, I need to add the ER server 3 server group over here. this case, I will give this. Yeah. So let me test the. So let me submit it. So my ER server 3 is now been added inside the Informix HQ server. So I will go to the schema manager. I will click over here and there is a database. Test one is the table. If I will say select over here. So see, the one value which I have inserted inside the server 2 or the ER server 2 group is now been successfully replicated to the ER server 3 group inside and server 3. So this proves that our application is started and we have successfully created our replicate over there. So if you are inside ER server 3, I want to show you like this, that inside ER server 3 also, if you will click on ER application, you will see the same domain. Because ER server 3 is a part of that ER domain, so you will see that over here as well. Further, you can also create a replicate if you want. We'll go back to the ER server 2. So now we have seen that replicate have been successfully created and the replicate have been successfully started as well, and our data is replicated as well. Now what we see over here are the three dots over here for more. If we click on these three dots, we can see the participants, we can modify the replicate, we can create a check replicate job, we can create a sync replicate job, we can see those jobs like what check replicate have done with all its data, and further we can delete this replicate as well. So I will cover these two over here. This creating of check job I can also show you over here, and then a delete. So as soon as you click on the participant, you will see there are two participants currently, when out of which one is the master one. If you want another participant to be added in this replicate, you just need to click on add and delete participant. If you will click on add and delete participant, it will ask you if you want to delete some participant or you want to add a new participant. If I say add, same screen will come over here. I need to give a participant server, then I need to give a database, then auto create a table. If it is not there, then update anywhere and then save and next. So the participant would be added inside the replicate, already created replicate. And if I want to delete our already created participant which is there in the replicate, then this delete button would come over there. So this is the part of add and delete or modify replicate. Coming on to the modify replicate, if I will click on modify, I can modify the conflict resolution rule, scopes, frequency of already created replicate. I can change the special options as well. So this, and once I click on modify replicate, all the data will be effectively saved in that databases. So this is a part, this modify replicate is comes under changing of resolution rules and resolution scope style. Proceed. So inside participant, you can add a participant or delete a participant. Inside modify replicate, you can configure the properties of the replicate like configure resolution rule and scopes. For check replicate, suppose I need to create a check job. So if I will click over here, the task name would be auto created by the Informix HQ. You just need to give the requirement information like repair inconsistent row, extra target rows or not, what is the master server, what is the target server, and some more options if you want to give like fire trigger in process, where clause if you want, and some checksum function if there's some exist. So as soon as you create the check replicate job, you can see those jobs over in check or sync task. So for now, I have already created one. So you can see replicate one check job over here. So now the check job result have already been shown over here, like the task name is this, task type is this, replicate name is this, what all are the rows, extra rows are missing or not, extra mismatches there is not, process is completed, what is the task status is also completed, last updated date, and further all this detail you can see over here by clicking on some particular check task. If you will say back to the list, it will come again. And if you want to delete this task, you can directly click on delete one. It will delete this task from the database. Just see, task has been deleted now. So now clicking on the back to the replicate, it will again show me the replicate list. Similarly, you can create a sync task. Now, if you want to delete this replicate, so if you will say my work is over and need to delete this replicate, what you will do, you just need to click on three dots, just need to say delete. It will ask you for that you want to delete or not. If I will say proceed, the replicate would be successfully deleted. Okay, so with this demo session, we have showed you multiple features which we have done in past time, like we have upgraded our Java to Java 11 and tested with Java 17. We have our login feature, like we are not now asking initial admin password in the properties file. The default user is admin and the default password is admin. So once you prompt it, it will ask you for the changing of password. Then the third feature, that is the dark and light mode, which we have given type of Grafana thing. The fourth feature is the work offline mode. If user want to work in an offline mode, don't want its connection to be created on the Informix server end, user can do it for the agent as well as for the Informix HQ server. And the fifth one is the enterprise application, that how to create a domain from Informix HQ, how to add a new node in an existing domain, how to delete a node from the existing domain, and how to see further data for the domain. After that, we have also shown you how to create a replicate and how to add a participant in that replicate, how to create a check job, how to modify the participant, how to modify the replicate, how to create a sync job over there, how to delete a replicate. So this ends the demo of the Informix HQ with all the highlights which we have shown you for the upcoming beta feature, beta release, that is Informix HQ 3.0.0. Now, if you want, you can ask any questions regarding this demo.
All right, thank you very much. Let me just go through. Sorry, I'm going through the chat. See what we got for specific questions. Um, so question on port 1996. What happened to port 8080?
So if you will, this is the port that is totally configurable from the Informix HQ server properties file. So if you want Informix HQ to run on different port instead of 8080, 8080 is a default port. So you can mention that in the properties file, the Informix HQ will run on that particular port.
Okay. Uh, sorry, going through.
For this, I can show you. This is our properties file. Sorry. Hmm. Yeah. So as you can see, 8080 is the default port. So if you want, you can change the default configuration from here.
Okay, great. Um, all right. Any other questions? There's been some chat back and forth about thoughts on HQ. I don't know if anyone has anything they want to have specifically brought up, in which case I'll relay it from chat. Give folks just a moment there. All right, I'm not seeing anyone that wants to bring it up for a larger discussion, so we'll go ahead and say thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep,
Thanks a
I'm gonna
lot.
go ahead and stop recording.